You're listening to the Racing Virginia podcast. Now, here are your hosts.
I'm Dave C.
And I am Brandon Brown. Not the NASCAR driver. Still not the NASCAR driver.
You'd like to be a NASCAR driver.
I would love to be a NASCAR driver. I don't have talent. I don't have marketability, and I don't have money. So kind of messed up.
But you got social skills, man.
I can talk to people a little bit.
No, as in social media skills.
See, I can't even talk to people.
No, you can talk to people. You do a good job.
I do have social media skills. I do have that.
Great racing this weekend.
Absolutely.
Was a lot of it out there. You didn't get to do anything.
No, man. It rained down in Hampton, and did not get to make my second appearance as the pit reporter at Langley Speedway. I was bummed because Vaughn was going to be in the booth. It was going to be me and Vaughn again.
Yeah, but you were super stoked about that.
Oh, it was fun the first time, and I went back and I watched the broadcast, and I realized all the things that I screwed up that I could have done a whole lot better, and was planning on doing a whole lot better. But nope, I was driving there, and Vaughn shoots me a text, was like, "It's raining. We're going to cancel today." I was bummed because it was going to be definitely a fun experience once again.
Got a great show.
We do.
Might as well get that in real quick. We've got Zach McAfee, Managing Director of Sim Seats. From right here in
Richmond.
RVA, and it is by far the best sim seat out there.
Absolutely, because it is the sim seat. Yeah. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's a great name for a company. You don't have to guess on what it is.
You don't. And then we've got Tyler Arrington. We've got Tyler Arrington. He just a dirt driver who got in an asphalt late model for the first time at Lonesome Pine and did pretty damn well.
Yeah, we like talking to the guys that are trying their hand
back
in
and
both.
Back and forth. Hey, it's all racing. As much as I claim that dirt racing is better, and
of course you do,
and it is,
of course
and it
you
is,
do.
and it is, and it is.
It's all in the eye of the beholder.
I've done both. I have worked for both asphalt tracks and the dirt, and I prefer dirt.
Okay,
but I like it. But I like asphalt too. What else we got?
Well, the Wood brothers almost got their 100th win at Vegas yesterday under the lights in Vegas, which was kind of cool. Kurt Busch got the win, had some great restarts to get ahead of Matt DiBenedetto in that 21 car. But I'll be honest with you, I was rooting for them so hard to get that 100th win. Matt still didn't know if he's going to be driving that car next year. Obviously, I think he's earned it. But with the business of racing, you never know what's going to happen. But, man, read that Kurt's car, he was actually restarting in first gear. They had a different gear in the car that allowed him to just get way ahead. And with that new package, clean air is king, and he got it done. So
I thought for a minute he was going to be the only guy on the lead lap.
It almost happened.
That was like 15 laps or so, and Jimmy Johnson brought out the caution, and everybody was pitting, and I was like, you got to be kidding me. The guy's got to stay out on the track and become the only guy that's on the lead lap. And, of course, he wins at his home track.
Yep.
Him and Kyle used to, well, I guess they still own that track when it comes to racing. They both race that track extremely well.
Yep, they are. The hometown kids. You saw Kyle come up and give Kurt a little nudge at the end of the race. Kyle not had the season that he's wanted to, but no, I thought it was a good race. A good race with that package. You had a lot of passing, and you had a lot of restarts at the end with the strategy. And Matt gave himself the opportunity to win the race in the 21 car, and damn near did it. So we were rooting for him in Racing Virginia here. And our good buddy Denny Hamlin came back from back in the pack, pitting late, and finished third. A few more laps, probably would have won it.
We're still trying
to pad to his.
We're still trying. I want to put it out there. We're still trying. Still trying.
We'll get Denny.
And I got Jeb Burton now working for me to get Dale. Help me get Dale Jr.
Our buddy Jeb. We're just bringing in resources.
By the way,
all around here.
His interview did extremely well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like you saw. If you saw, I think he shared it. Ward shared it on Facebook. Kelly Earnhardt.
Can't wait to have Ward on. Really can't.
Oh, it'll be great.
That'll be phenomenal.
We got to space out the Burtons.
By the way,
Ward, Jeff, all of them.
I know that it wasn't. She's not from Virginia, but I do want to talk about this because she made history.
Yes, she did.
everybody thinks that Haley Deegan has made history in ARCA, but she hasn't. It was
not technically.
Not technically. It was K&N West
before our ARCA absorbed
it. Yeah. But Gracie Trotter at the short track, at the Bull Ring at Vegas, first female to ever win in ARCA.
That's huge win.
And it wasn't like she just walked into that. I mean, she
kicked her butts.
That was a hell of a field.
Yep.
That was a hell of a field. It always is out there for the Vegas event.
No, that was awesome. If you saw, there was a video on social media. Somebody was filming their daughter actually watching the end of that race, and she was like, "A girl won." Like, that's an inspiration to future potential racers, all over the country to see that she
really
can do that.
Really, I mean, Danica Patrick. I mean, she's not the first, obviously, but I think she brought more attention to the sport by going from Indy to NASCAR. Sure. And it's very difficult for the females in a bigger car. Females have done extremely well in drag racing.
Oh yeah,
extremely well. Won championship, national titles.
Brittany Force, Shirley Muldowney.
I mean, and 9 times out of 10, if you're going to bet on one, if there is a female in the final, if you're not betting on them, something's wrong, because their reaction time is way quicker than the guys. It is, and literally, if you go back and you mark all this, and this is talking to some of the NASCAR guys over the years, is that a woman's reaction time is typically quicker than a man.
It doesn't surprise me at all.
We got a great show. There's so much.
There's some work to do. There's work to be done.
Work to be done today, so we need to get this show
done. So let's get on it.
Well, this week, our first guest, we don't have to go to the phone lines because he actually offered to be in the studio, which is unusual. He is the managing director of SimSeats. He is Zach McAfee.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That's excellent. That sounded good.
And
there we go.
On the 4th time. Man, I'll tell you what. This is we've talked. Me and Brandon have talked. Probably.
Since we started
this podcast about having you on.
Yeah.
We actually thought about coming over to your shop. I thought that would have been cooler.
Yeah.
Well, we can do it again sometime.
Yeah, we can do that.
Perfect. We're already scheduling the future podcast before we even talked to you the first time.
And to be honest with you, I wanted to do it at your office because at least I get to sit in the sim seat and try something.
Yeah. I have done that, by the way.
I know you have. You keep bragging about it, so I figured, at least, I could get over there and get in a sim seat. That's about the only time I'll do any iRacing. Because I'd be divorced. First of all, the company, the SimSeats, sponsored the number 21.
Yes, sir. Anthony Alfredo. At Las Vegas this past weekend.
Pasta sauce, as they call him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fast
pasta.
And the sauce mafia.
And the sauce mafia. There we go. He was running good. Yeah,
he's running really good.
He was running really good. Mm-hmm. And off air, we were talking, and you mentioned that this is 2 years in a row you've done something at Vegas.
Yeah, and he actually brought it up to me a couple of weeks ago and said, "Hey, let's start a tradition here. SimSeats sponsored his truck last year at Las Vegas, and we were able to go down there and have a good time with him last year. And he said, "Hey, man, let's make this a tradition." And I couldn't pass up that opportunity.
Let's go back a little bit. Let's talk about how you two got together. I mean, because a lot of times those are some good stories.
Yeah, Anthony approached me via phone, contact on the website, and all. I want to say 2.5 years ago, and he said, "Hey, I'm working my way up, and I'm wondering if you would be interested in partnering somehow." And we got talking for a little bit, and we ended up working out a couple of deals. I immediately realized he's a excellent business partner in the racing world. I mean, he's such an advocate for the product, and so because of his just his character and his strength that I could tell he would help us out. It was very unique, his approach to working with businesses and sponsors, that we formed a really good partnership. He ended up getting a simulator in his house, and I went and did the installation, and we just stayed connected. And next thing you know, I got myself on a truck and then an Xfinity car, which blows my mind, to be honest. To be on an RCR Xfinity Cup car, it was just extremely rewarding, and to see that this past weekend.
That was, and the car, like, I want to know who came up with the paint scheme. Like, who designed the paint scheme? Because it was gorgeous, and it stood out. That was. I can't take any credit. That was Anthony's work. Really? Yeah. I could say that it was probably one of his partners doing paint schemes for his cars, because that was a replica of one of the cars that he runs in his series, and so it was pretty neat to see that. We have this thing we call it sim to reality, and Raja Karuth does it a lot, and so we started pushing that sim to reality hashtag a couple of years ago, and it's really cool to see the car that he's been running in his series, the exact same paint scheme, go to Las Vegas in the Xfinity race this past weekend. So let's take it. Dave wanted to take us back. I'm going to take us back even further. How does one get into the business of creating simulator seats for sim racing? Like, where did that come from? It started a while ago. I mean, I was a racer myself. I still am. I'm still a driver, but I was a competitive racer when I was a kid for years, with me and my dad doing kart racing with VDKA. And at some point, I had to stop because I went to school and I got super busy, and I was looking for a replacement for driving. And so I built my own rig, and I built one for me. I took it to my dad's house, and then he wouldn't give it back because he liked it so much. And then I made another one, and then got some friends involved in sim racing, and we started doing land races with Gran Turismo 4 on PlayStation 2. This is way back. This was back in the day, and just all of a sudden it was like, hey, maybe I'll make these and see if somebody wants to buy them. Yep. And I started the company in my garage. Me and my friend Brian Haggard, we're in my tiny garage, cutting metal with tools that are not, up to the task, spray painting. We come out of that garage looking like coal miners. We're covered in black dust and soot, and we come out of there working all weekend and make one rig and sell it for $150. It was grassroots as could be. And it just grew organically. I never had to take out big loans or anything, just my own cash flow from business, and slowly grew it, and worked off of customer feedback, and to create all the products that you see now. It was just a slow process, a slow burn. The interesting thing that when I look at this is from the outside, not having sat in one, and I guess, I've had the steering wheel, that you hook to the desk. And that's kind of where this all came from. I mean, you go from there, and I'm looking at the seats now, and I'm like, holy crap. First of all, there's no way I could afford that one. None. Maybe with some payments. You take payments? Do you drive an Xfinity car? We might work out a deal. No. We got trade, perhaps. We have. You know what? We do have a pretty good podcast. Yeah. Oh, okay. Here we go. That didn't take long. Let me get this affiliate program or something. Yeah. I wasn't going to sit here and say it. Well, we do try to sell them every week. I mean, I don't think that. Is there a week that goes by that we don't say sim seats? I think we always. It's far and few between. It is really, really few and far between, because we do end up talking about esports and racing, and obviously the touch point is we've got our own sim racing company right here in Richmond, Virginia, which is really, really cool. That is so cool. You get a lot of free press on this podcast. Just I appreciate it, guys. But so you built the company up from just doing it in your garage, a la say a Apple computers, something like that. But what made you? Was there like a moment where you were like, hey, I want to rent a building, and I want to get this machinery, and I want to actually make this a hustle for you? Yeah, it was more or less out of necessity. You outgrow your space pretty quick when you start that small. Yeah.
And again, no loans or anything to start a company. I had to do it organically and with friends and all. And so I rented a space from a sublet, a corner of a warehouse from a friend, Russ Roscoe. Mm-hmm. And I'm still in that warehouse now, but I've now since taken over that entire space and the space next to it, and basically kicked him out. I squeezed him. He had the whole place, and I squeezed him into a tiny office.
That's wrong.
And he's still there. And he doesn't pay rent anymore, so I got him covered, for helping me get started, because it's hard to do something like this on your own. It takes other people, and there's a lot of players in the game along the way. Especially
when you have something like COVID happen that changes the business model a little bit, that elevates your product and increases demand for sim racing when iRacing took off earlier this year. What was that like? Going through, you were expanding your business, but also all of this influx in demand that you said that was a challenge.
I was fortunate to, after 9 years of slow build up and always being on the limit on money, you're just barely getting by every month, every year, to have enough people on staff that were all working part-time to, when this happened, which I'm not going to say I was prepared for it necessarily. I didn't know this was going to happen, but I was able to flip a switch, and then everybody went from part-time to full-time immediately. And I had 6 guys on staff that were working full-time cranking out simulators. And if they weren't there, I never would have been prepared for this rush. We had months that beat previous years in revenue because of the volume increase.
Talk about volume. You go from doing a couple a month maybe to now, how many do you think you do a month?
Well, we have a broad range of components. So you can buy just the individual simulator, so just the seat, and the frame on your own, and that's $975. So we've got that range of products, and then it goes all the way up to full turnkey packages that are $20,000 to $30,000.
What's that one?
That's about 18. We're looking at the Legend package on the website, and so we do a lot of turnkey installations now. So we build them, test them in house, and then we bring them to the customer and we install them. We were doing about one of those a weekend, maybe 2 a weekend during the big rush, and then throughout the middle of the week we'd sell a handful of components, accessories, if you will.
Talk about the product itself. The late Sean Belluzzo used to do some motion seats, and it was with the old NASCAR Heat game, I think it was, on the computer. Explain the technology behind this.
Yeah, and we're what I call an integrator. So we take technology from everywhere, and then we put it all together in one turnkey package. It's not very much different from an automotive manufacturer, where a lot of the parts that are in a car that you drive are not theirs, not what they make. They put it together, and so all that technology we're looking at the Legend pack again. You've got triple 32-inch curved monitors to give you that wraparound look. So you're using full peripheral vision. You've got surround sound, a nice 5.1 THX system. You've got a real racing seat. In this case, we're looking at a Sparco fixed back racing seat. We've got direct drive steering with a full-size MPI NASCAR steering wheel. You have Willwood pedals. So you've got real pedals. They're actually the same pedals that are in my track car. They're just hooked up to pressure transducers instead of actually going to brake pedal, a caliper. And then a really nice PC by Velocity Micro. We've been partnered with them for years now. And so you put all that together. They all come from different vendors, and we source them all separately, which is not an easy task. It's not as simple as just going out and buying stuff and putting something together, because it's a small industry. And so supply chain is a little bit difficult, because this is it's a small segment, sim racing. There's not a ton of volume. There wasn't, and this year it blew up. So all of us are small companies, and the small companies are the best ones to work with because they have the coolest components. And so that's what we do. We go find the coolest stuff we can, which is a tough job to have to buy cool sim racing equipment and test it out. I got to tell you, it's really rough. And now my guys like Garrett and Reese, they're all spoiled rotten, because they come to work and they test drive sim racing equipment. I don't even get to do it anymore. I got to do things like podcasts.
Which is not quite as cool. I mean,
Garrett's a cool
I thought
kid
you were
too.
going to say accounting, as the cool,
I
not
should probably
cool
be doing
example.
more of that. Yeah.
You hire somebody for that now.
Yeah, but you had some really cool clients when the thing blew up. I don't want you to be dropping names or anything, but how cool was it
to drop some names,
or you can drop some names, to have actual NASCAR drivers in a large volume just reach out and be like, hey, we heard about you. Can you come down to Charlotte and set us up so we can go iRacing on TV?
Yeah, and I had worked with a couple of those guys already, but just here and there, not a ton. I worked with William Byron a lot. He's become a great partner for us as well. But and he connected us to a lot of people. So got tied in with Anthony, got me tied in with a lot of guys too. And so, when it came down to those couple of weeks when all the Cup drivers realized they needed a simulator because this thing was going to happen on iRacing, not in real life.
Yeah.
I started getting a lot of phone calls and getting phone calls from people like Austin Dillon and Jimmy Johnson. And I mean, it's pretty cool to be the guy that you're sitting at the office and you get a FaceTime call and it's Jimmy Johnson. Got a couple questions for you. It's just like mind-boggling. And I spent a couple of weeks going down to Charlotte and setting them up. I worked with Jimmy in his garage two different weekends to get him going and get him fine-tuned. And then same with William Byron, because these guys were looking at me as the guy that could potentially make them faster in iRacing. Mm-hmm. So I was their chassis builder all of a sudden. They have a chassis builder for their car. Now they got a chassis builder for their sim, and that was me. And they're asking me questions that I've never had to answer before, like, hey, how do I get faster in iRacing? Which is not really a conversation I had a lot with my customers, because they just say, hey, I want to go iRacing, or I want to use this for training. The guys that were fast, like Jimmy and Malik and all of our friends in the Pro Series, like, they're just fast. They know how to do it. They're not asking me how to do it. They're just like, hey, give me some good equipment. I'll make it happen, But all of a sudden, I had to try to figure out how to get them to be competitive, because the sponsors were looking at them saying, hey, you need to be up front, just like in real life.
Absolutely. And you bring up a good you bring up a good a segue into Jimmy Mullis, Malik Ray, and Richmond Raceway Esports. How'd you get connected with those guys? Or I should say us.
Yeah. Well, you guys found me, really. You were interested in building that sim car, and you called me up. I came down and said, sure, I can build you a car. And I spent a couple of weeks working on that, and that partnership developed into all of a sudden, well, hey, maybe we need a sim here at Richmond. Hey, we want to do an event during the race and bring some sims. I said, yeah, we can do that. And it just kind of blossomed from there. And we've been very integral partners working in the sim world and bringing simulation from house to events, and bringing in drivers and bringing in fans to experience what it's like to be in a simulator.
That is so cool, and I know we got to get you out, Zach. So
he was gonna stick around, and
I got an idea. Hold on.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I got an idea. Because we haven't talked about his racing.
No,
he does race as well.
Yeah.
You want to do a SimSeats commercial break?
Yeah. So, but look, because we don't have Randy Hallman.
Yeah.
We're gonna let him take his call. We're gonna do another interview.
Okay.
All right, and then we'll come back. We'll have part 2. How about it? How's that?
I can dig it.
Sweet.
Let's go to the phone lines, because unfortunately with this guest, he is way far out there. Lebanon, Virginia. Yeah, and he drives the 002. I never asked him why he got that number, but we're going to ask him. In our NRV Furniture, Bush Builders, Car Care Incorporated, Crisis Cash Longhorn. He is the defending and 2019 / inaugural American Crate All-Star Series champion. He won the $10,000 to win Pro Late Model Nationals at Wythe Raceway on September 8th, which we forgot to promote, by the way.
Don't admit that.
Shame on us.
Don't tell him that. Don't tell him we forgot that.
And I think he hit his head or something, but he ran his first ever asphalt late model race at Lonesome Pine this past Saturday. Qualified 4th, finished 7th. Not a damn bad start to that. Of course, he is Mr. Tyler Arrington. How you doing, Tyler?
How's it going this morning, guys?
It's going good, man. Going good.
Good.
How are you doing?
Oh, doing good. Just trying to get rolling at work this morning.
We know that feeling.
I'm doing the same thing right now.
We're not we're rolling pretty good this morning. We're doing pretty good. First of all, congratulations on winning the $10,000 Win Pro Late Model Nationals on September 8th. Not like you didn't have any home track advantage or anything, but you still the field for that race was pretty phenomenal, though.
Yeah, it really was. I was actually pretty surprised at the good cars that did show up and the good cars that didn't make the show. It was a stacked field, and it felt good to beat all those guys. You know, you're right. We did have a home field advantage, but at the same time, we don't, where they don't run the crates weekly now. We don't never, that was the first race we ran up there this year and hadn't been there since that race last year. And so we do. I've turned a ton of laps there, but at the same time, we haven't really raced a whole lot there in the past couple of years.
Once you're on the dark side, and I call the dark side dirt racing, welcome to the dark side.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go back to the light again. And I know it was your first trip over there, but asphalt racing, Tyler?
Well, I guess you can say I never came from that light side. So I had to go and at least try it and see, what it was like. It's one of them things that I've always kind of had in the back of my mind that I wanted to try. Just never really had the opportunity. But
did a good job.
I appreciate it. Me and Caleb Holman, we put together the deal, and it come together really quick. It was right before, the Labor Day weekend. We talked about it, and so we started working on it. I mean, the next day after we won the Pro Late Model Nationals up there at Wythe, and it's just I flowed right in, from winning that race right into working on this car, and we worked and we went and tested last week, and went and raced Saturday night over there. And early on we was pretty sporty. I mean, we for a long time we was quickest in practice, and with their tire situation over there, you get a random set of tires for your qualifying race, and I feel like that hurt us somewhat. But it's all part of the game,
Yeah.
I want to know we've asked a few drivers who have done both, what it's like transitioning from driving on dirt to jumping into an asphalt car, and obviously things are going to feel a whole lot different. What is it like to get used to it, and what does that feel as a driver?
It is. It's a lot different. I've had some dirt guys already asking me, like, what it's like, and they've kind of had the same idea that I've had here of wanting to try it and see what it feels like. But it is a lot different. You got all the right side grip that you could ever ask for. You use a lot more brake than you do in a dirt car. The biggest thing that I found with it was you have to be a lot more consistent and precise on your line, your braking, your throttle pickup, and when to pick it up than you do on dirt. On dirt, it's, you're slinging the car around quite a bit more. And this is just, if you can hit the same line in a race, if you can hit it for 50 laps, then you're golden. Dirt, you're all over the place. First 20 laps, you might be up around the top, and by the end of the race, you're right around the bottom.
That's I think the gist of the asphalt dirt thing is that with dirt, you can move around to find a groove. If you really haven't hit, it's harder to move around on the asphalt to find a groove. I think you might be able to do it a little bit in the Cup and Xfinity because the tracks are much wider. Mm-hmm. But I think like on short track racing, it's very difficult if you don't have that car set up on an asphalt chassis. Mm-hmm. It's hard to move it around and find a groove that might work.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, that's kind of the scenario that happened to us Saturday night. The car was pretty tight, and I was wanting to, enter the corner a little bit later than I needed to be. And the guys that was pretty good on some better tires, they could really drive in under me and still turn across the bottom. and that hurt us a lot, just not being able to get turned in the corner, and that's just part of the asphalt racing deal.
The one thing that I saw on social media that just made me laugh, okay, was about you not liking to be at the track all day. Compared, a dirt track, you roll up at what, 5, 6 o'clock?
Oh yeah. That's the worst part about it. I mean, we, the track's like 40 minutes from our house, and we was over there at I guess about 10:30 or 11 o'clock Saturday morning. And then, of course, you race, and then you got to wait for all the races to be over to leave, to get out of there and get paid. And I mean, I don't get back home until it was 12:30 or 1 o'clock over in Sunday morning. And it's hard. I mean, it's a hard day.
Well, the one thing about asphalt racing compared to dirt racing also is the amount of practice. That's what I think that's what takes all day.
It does. I mean, you get there, and they started practice at 12 o'clock that day, and they give you 3 rounds. But I'm the type. Give me 5 laps, 1 round of practice, and let's roll.
That's the dirt guy.
That's the dirt guy in you, because it's literally. I mean, if you get at even a big dirt race, if you get practice, it's usually because the track owner has held an open practice the day before.
Oh yeah,
not the day of the race. Day of the race, you might get 5 laps, and then you're going qualifying, or in some cases you might get 5 laps, and that was your qualifying.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's that's just kind of what we've got used to, and. And I've kind of made a big circle here. I started out when I was real young, racing go-karts, and that was how that was. You show up at 8 o'clock that morning, and, they run all this practice and all this, and they've got all these classes, and you're there all day, and then you finally get to qualify, and then you race and all this, and you're there all day and all night, and it's a long, drew-out procedure. Well, then we started dirt racing, and it's like, okay, we don't have to show up until 4, 5 o'clock. Okay, that's cool. Well, then you only get, a little like 3 to 5 laps of practice, and sometimes that's your qualifying, like you said. And it was a big change for me. That was hard. From go-karts, I would have probably been a lot happier to go asphalt race just because of the practice. But now I'm spoiled to the dirt racing.
That sessions that you did get, say just your first time out on asphalt, did you learn anything that you applied to that race, even though you had to get there early and didn't like it so much?
Yeah, no, I mean, I learned a lot. You just, like I said, you got to be consistent with your line and be smooth, and you can't be jerking the steering wheel. It's just, it doesn't really feel as fast to me as what the dirt racing does. I guess dirt racing, you fight the car more than you do on asphalt, and you just get maybe wore down a little more, and that's why it feels a little different. But yeah, I mean, as far as learning early on in the day, I mean, it was I actually went up and I practiced both times behind some good cars to give me something to gauge off of. And we ran right with them, and I thought, well, we've got a shot here. But like I said, the car just didn't get played in our favor in the tire game, and that's just part of it.
The one thing that makes me happy, though, is that Lonesome Pine Raceway is back open. In 2019, we thought we were going to get a dirt track out of it. Mm-hmm. That about midway through the year, that went south. Mm-hmm. And then I guess halfway through this season, they started taking the dirt off and decided to take it back to a dirt track and take it back to Lonesome Pine Raceway. And I mean, you could still see the color, especially in the infield. You can still see, because they repaved the track, but you can still see the orange color in the infield on the asphalt because of the dirt that was on top of it. But at least that track is back open. And from all aspects that I've seen, it looks like it's going to end up being a success. I don't know why, but it's going to be. It looks like it's going to be a success. The car counts are pretty decent especially for starting late in a season.
Mm-hmm.
So I gave you crap about going asphalt racing, but we here on the Racing Virginia podcast, we promote everything. So I mean, it's nice to see a track open that was closed.
Oh yeah. I mean, you don't want to see any racetrack closed. I mean, I have always ragged on my asphalt buddies the same as you did me. Why do you asphalt race? Why do you do that? But at the end of the day, I mean, a racetrack is a racetrack to most of us. I mean, you don't want to see any of them closed or anything. I wish that it would have stayed dirt, and just to see kind of if it would have got built up. I know a lot of those cars that's over there right now. A lot of guys, when it closed down from being asphalt, they put their car on jack stands and the cars sit there until 2 or 3 weeks ago, and they brought them back out and they're back racing now. I mean they have got decent car counts right now, and that's if that keeps up. I mean they got a great fan count too. It looked like Saturday night, so it looks like it's going to be pretty successful as of right now.
Beautiful place, beautiful surroundings, absolute beautiful surroundings. The one, and I think we talked about it, Tyler. The one thing that scared me about the going to dirt was that they were putting the dirt over top of the asphalt. I think if they would have taken all the asphalt up, put the dirt down, I think that in the end it would have been a success that way.
Most likely. I mean, there's a few racetracks out there that that still has asphalt under the dirt that is successful. But I think for them, I think if they would have took the asphalt up, that it would have definitely helped the surface. But my big question always was, when they opened it up as a dirt track, was okay, where's the cars come from? Because really down in this area right here close by, there's not really a whole lot of dirt cars, Yeah,
but where Lonesome Pine is, it's just a hop, skip, and a jump over to Tennessee. So,
it's true.
So, I mean, I was expecting there was going to. The one thing that also you have to do when you are going from asphalt to dirt, in my opinion, is you got to really work with other tracks. You can't have rules that don't match some of the other tracks.
Mm-hmm.
You got to, and that's the one thing that we're trying to do here at Racing Virginia also is to get tracks to work together.
Oh yeah.
I mean, unfortunate thing in the past has been that most promoters are worried that the promoter down the street's going to make $1 extra than he does.
Oh yeah. I mean, we see that all the time, and you're right. Like it's so aggravating to see even the touring series and stuff. It's not just the racetracks; it's the touring series and all that. They just none of them seems like can get on the same playing field. And you go here and you got to run this tire. You go here, you got to run this tire. It just seems like you're always changing stuff to go run with somebody else, and it costs more. Yeah, exactly. It costs more. Yeah.
The other thing I want to talk, because I know we need to get you back to work. You gotta make some money.
Good.
Last year you won the inaugural American Crate All-Star Series. You won the championship. I know we've talked about it before, but for those folks that may not have been able to listen to that interview, and now we're on all kinds of platforms now, so it's easier to listen. The talk about winning that. I mean, being the inaugural champion.
That was a huge accomplishment for us. I've won some races in my career and everything, and I've won championships and stuff, track championships, and but to go out and get on the road and do this against a very talented, I feel like I feel like down in Tennessee, that is by far the biggest, broadest, most talented group of racers in pro late model racing that they are. And to be able to pull that off, it was a huge accomplishment. And to be, it was a big deal because when we started the year, we didn't even go to the first race. And we actually was at Clay Valley because I think they was running a, like 2,000 win or something that night. And it looked like rain at Tazewell. So we didn't even go. We was like, well, let's just, we'll just go over here close to the house and maybe Tazewell will rain out. Well, sure enough, it didn't. So we started out behind points anyway, but last year they did allow us a drop race. So that, that we just used that 0 as a drop race. But from there on, we knew we didn't have a drop. So we had to go run good pretty much everywhere we went. And we knew that. Like, we could not have any failures. Nothing dumb happened. So, we set out and we went to, I guess one of my big moments really, and it might sound dumb to some people, but we went to Smoky Mountain on that. That was the first series race we ran with them. It was at Smoky Mountain, I guess in May. And we was on the outside pole beside Corey Hedgecock. And just to be in that field with all them guys, and that's really one of the first times that I'd ran with those guys down that way. Normally we was running up, up this way at Whitful and Beckley and Princeton up this way. And, we go down there and it was just a big confidence booster to think, man, we can drive with these guys, And from there, we took off and everything worked out in our favor to win points,
This has been a crazy year. I mean, you've done some racing. You've been racing with the series again this year. Mm-hmm. But for a driver out there in the western part of the state, what's it been like for this COVID-19 pandemic stuff?
Oh, it's not really nothing's really changed a whole lot for us. We ran a race or two back in February, and then everything shut down. And then we kind of got back going right around the 1st of May. And, we hit a couple practice sessions and went and raced. And then we started the touring series the end of May. I guess it was Memorial Day weekend maybe. But we started then. And honestly, since then, we have been wide open. It is almost every weekend. It's not every weekend with the touring series, but it's just like this weekend. We went and ran this asphalt car. We're always doing something. It don't matter if it's racing a late model or an asphalt late model or a wheelbarrow. It don't matter. We're going to go do something. So it hasn't really affected us as far as our racing. We've been wide open.
One thing you don't see in asphalt racing very much, if any, is triple numbers. I don't even think most of them allow that. But you have the 002, which at most tracks, even dirt tracks, the scoreboard shows you at 00. So talk about why run a triple number.
Okay, well, when I first started racing in 2005, I guess it was my second year, actually. It had been 2006 is when I picked that number. Because I think my first number was actually like 48. But I started out that second year, and I had this big dreamed up idea that each year I was going to change my number. Like the second year I raced, 002. Right. Third year I was going to be 003 and so on. And, it's just one of them deals. I was 12 years old and, you just dream up something like that. Well, then I put 002 on the go-kart, and here we are, 2020, and I'm still 002.
Thing is, you could have sold a lot of apparel, 002 one year, 003.
Yeah.
You'd have to get new apparel every year.
Fans want to update their wardrobe.
That's right. Yeah, would have been a good sales gimmick.
Oh,
That's
Lord.
Right.
I always wonder sometimes the origin of people's numbers, because they usually involve an interesting story. They really do.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, normally.
By the way, congratulations. Qualify for, from what I saw in the results, the guys there at Lonesome Pine were pretty tough guys. Wasn't
man. Yeah.
Wasn't one of those gimme fields.
No, it's not. Those guys, like I said, a lot of them have raced over there for years, and it's like Danny O'Quinn that won the race. At one time he was running in the Xfinity series, I guess it was,
yeah.
And he's a top notch guy. He's got 1 million laps there, and it's hard to outrun that.
Well, folks, if you've never been to Lonesome Pine Raceway, you need to make it out there because it literally sitting in the grandstands and looking out over the backstretch, it is just gorgeous. The rolling mountains, just the scenery there it's set in a beautiful scenery for sure. And the sun sets at just the right spot. It's for track photographers out there, it's a phenomenal place.
We are getting romantic here on the Racing Virginia podcast.
But I'm just saying, it's nice to have it back running again. It is a beautiful facility. It is a historic facility here in the state of Virginia, and it's great that we have it. I don't want to take anything away from Wythe Raceway where you cut your teeth, but man, I'm gonna tell you what, Lonesome Pine is a great facility, as is Wythe. Some great promoters out that way, and we can't thank you enough for taking some time out of your schedule to visit with us, man, and we look forward to talking to you again. Before I let you go, though, hey, are you in the market for a sim seat?
A what?
A sim seat, for iRacing.
Oh, Lord, no, I'm out on all that. I gave that a shot, and no, that's not for me.
But look, but it could come down to the proper equipment.
Uh-huh.
And the reason why
the
only reason why I ask is because right here sitting next to us is the managing director for Sim Seats. They're made right here in in the state of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. And it's the same seats that like Dale Jr. uses, William Byron, Jimmy Johnson. Sometimes you just got to have the right equipment. You know that.
You're right, but now let me tell you just a real quick story on that. So I started the iRacing stuff back when when everything shut down. It was around March or so, and I bought up a bunch of stuff, and I started doing it. I'm like, man, I really suck at this. Well, so we get back, around the 1st of May, and we go to test the car, and I get in. And I run the first session, and I get out, and I'm like, I don't even know how to drive this thing now. It's like the non-motion of not feeling the car when you're playing the game. It really messed with me when I got back in the car, and we came home, and I said, I'm selling that stuff. I'm out on that. I can't do it.
Well, I'm just saying we can even get you instruction on it. He's got.
Dave's selling you hard here for our
Zach McAfee, who's right here next to us, and he actually has a couple of guys that work for him that could probably get you going pretty good.
Yeah, I believe I'm gonna just pass on that deal, but I do appreciate it.
I want you to go. Look, I'm telling you right now. Go to sim-seats.com. sim-seats.com and look at when you have the right equipment, Tyler, you're a champion.
Or you can just come to Richmond, Virginia and test drive one.
Oh, there you go.
And one with actual motion in it too, because you were talking about the motion in the lack of motion. Well, I've sat in one that actually it blows the wind on you like it would be if you were in the real car, and hits every single bump and every single turn and angle that you could possibly be in. So
for the dirt guys, you've got wind. We need to throw some mud in there somehow.
Oh, well, that'll be three of us.
Yep.
The three of us
Gotta
will
have
meet.
mud.
Yeah. Tyler,
mud and the rock.
But look, if you need to get hooked up, I got you a hookup, okay?
All right. Well, I appreciate it.
All right, brother. Tyler, thanks so much, man. Good luck if you're racing this weekend.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
All right, bud. He is Tyler Arrington, doing a little asphalt racing. Normally racing that double aught 2.
Double aught.
Yeah, double aught. Double aught 2.
Old school expression.
Yeah, Longhorn. The one thing with dirt, is that they, when they talk about cars, I think the only other, this is a good segue, by the way, the only other division or racing series I think that uses a chassis is road racing. Like they call it the 002 Longhorn. That's the chassis. You don't normally call like in asphalt racing, you don't call it a Childress. Typically, you give the Chevrolet, it's usually Chevrolet Camaro, but it's not nothing to do with the chassis manufacturer.
Okay.
Which is weird. It just, I don't know. That's another one of those things that is different about asphalt and dirt racing.
I didn't know that.
I just
Hadn't a clue.
Just dropped some knowledge on you.
How about that?
Oh,
were you going to segue into the road racing?
Yes, for yes.
Perfect.
I was segueing into the road racing because we got Zach McAfee. He's managing director of SimSeats Part 2.
Yes, back.
All right, so I'm going to sound really smart here. I'm going to try to sound really smart here.
Lord have mercy.
Not only are you the managing director of SimSeats, but you run a car as well in real life at a real track that we all know and love down at VIR.
Yes.
And your 1987 BMW 325 IS with a Corvette motor in it. 400 horsepower.
Yes, sir.
2,500 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I got that right. All right, we'll let you take it from there.
I got a question.
Okay.
Corvette engine in a BMW.
Yeah.
Why?
Why not?
He answered you right there.
Why not just have a Corvette?
Well, that's a good point because it took me a long time to do that swap. And it took me about 9 months laying on my back in the garage.
I could only imagine trying to fit it in the car.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was, I think I had 2 weeks straight of just hammering, which isn't my go-to tool for
everything
working on my car. But there were certainly moments where I laid there and thought, why in the heck didn't I just buy a Corvette? But you know what? What's fun about it is the group I run with, NASA Mid-Atlantic, and I run with Track Days. They do a lot of what we would call kind of club racing sort of thing. And I do HPDE, which is high performance driving experience, where it's more like a run what you brung thing. It's not competition based. I mean, there's certainly bragging rights going on, but you can bring whatever you want, and you can build to. You don't have to build to a spec. You just have fun with it. Like working on my car, or like doing creative modifications. And at some point, I've been tracking my car since 2008, and it was stock. It was a daily driver when I started, because you can put anything on the track. You could go rent a car at Hertz if you want and put it on track.
All right.
Hey, and, Brandon, guess what we're doing?
Yeah, because my 2012 Kia doesn't seem like it'd be that much fun out there right now.
You'd be surprised.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Oh, yeah.
It's all in the driver.
Exactly.
Oh, well, then that's going to be a huge failure.
Yeah, so I thought at one point maybe I need a little more horsepower, and that was my decision. And now I have this monster Frankenstein race car that it surprises people. Brand new cars they spent $100,000 on, and I'm out there whooping
Frankenstein was beautiful.
Yeah, in his creator's mind.
That's right. And you talk about bragging rights. I guarantee y'all keep track of lap times.
Yes, we do. Absolutely. And we rub it in.
I'm sure. And there's probably some betting I would go on. There's got to be a little bit of betting.
Well,
drinking betting or something.
There's, at 5 o'clock when the cars stop and the beers come out, that's when the bragging happens. And I mean, maybe there's some money being lost out there. I'm gonna say absolutely.
Lost or won.
To upkeep that car? I mean, I've seen your videos, I've seen your pictures, and you're constantly working. You're constantly working on keeping the car in raceable condition. What makes you put in that work and to get out onto the track?
It's just a passion for driving, really. You got 2 minutes for a story?
Yeah, okay, we do.
So
we do.
I was at Summit Point this weekend with Track Days, and everybody laughs because the car breaks every weekend, and I need help pushing it on the trailer. It just shakes like crazy, and nuts and bolts fall off. It's like whack-a-mole.
I wonder why.
Yeah, I don't know why. And so this weekend I had a
BMW Corvette engine.
Yeah.
Just
what could possibly go wrong?
Yeah.
And so Saturday, I had a good day driving, and I have to fill it up every session because it burns a gallon a lap. It's no big deal.
No.
And I went to the pump there at the track. I come around and I see a friend and he's shooting breeze. I said, "How's the car running?" I said, "Hey man, it's actually doing pretty good." He said, I see you working on it all the time." He said, "What, do you work on it once a weekend?" I said, "I work on it once a session. You kidding me?" And he laughed. I said, "Just kidding. I've been having a good weekend." And I literally go to start the car and it won't start. And he had to help push me. The starter broke on the damn thing. So,
man,
it's always something. It's usually because nuts and bolts are falling off. Yeah. And I'm at the track every other weekend, and it's hard to keep up. But I just love being out on track. I love being out there with friends. I love getting seat time because the more you're out on the track, the better you get, the more comfortable you feel. And I'm out there with my dad every weekend. And so it's a good father-son experience. I would never give it up for that.
Oh, hell no. You can't replace that at all. Now did obviously your love for racing and driving led to this? The sim seats. I'm pointing at the computer.
That's right,
folks.
Yeah, and actually, that's why the product has become so good at this point. Is because almost everybody that works for the company is a driver of some sort, and we know what the ergonomics feel like in a track car. We know what the experience is like being on track, and we're able to translate that into better equipment, whether it comes from rigidity, because the chassis that we build is extremely strong.
Yep.
And that the ergonomics feel good, closer to what's in a car. And so that experience that I have and that the folks that work for me have really does translate into a better product. And even take tips from customers, really. And some of my customers are drivers. Anthony Alfredo, obviously, he has a sim seat, and he's always given little tiny things that we could change just a little bit to make it even better than the competition out there.
I will have to say that full disclosure, I am a satisfied SimSeats customer.
That's right.
got it set up in my dining room, and after a while I started absolutely destroying the 1987 Legends races on there.
Notice he had to go back in time to do well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm still garbage at the current A cars and the B cars, but man, those 87s run so well.
And that's a real driver's car, right?
That
absolutely.
Is. Sure.
That's when the driving talent shines.
That's when the car
hanging
was up off the ground and didn't have hardly any spoiler on it.
No, they're running that thing at 20 degrees behind it, and
for some reason you like stuff. Rockingham, isn't it?
I won like 12 races at Rockingham during Rockingham week in those things. It's if you only a couple drivers, and this is not bragging, just because Rockingham is my favorite track. It's bragging. Only a couple drivers who are real drivers in real life actually beat me. Like Landon Huffman, who does, he does. Do
you realize every time we introduce him now, we have to say, Brandon Brown. Wait a couple seconds. Not the Xfinity driver.
Oh yeah.
So,
because that guy does not want to be confused with this guy.
No, absolutely not.
We've had him on the show.
Yeah,
they've raced together on iRacing.
Yeah. So speaking of real drivers, do you have any insight into when you might be doing some more stuff with Anthony? Doesn't have to be a sponsorship on a main sponsorship on the car, which was cool, but you're always doing stuff with that guy.
Yeah, and it goes back to Anthony being a good guy and a strong partner, and he's an advocate for the product because he genuinely likes it, and he'll say that. Some people have said, "Oh, you're always touting SimSeats because they've been your sponsor." But he says, "No, I genuinely like the product, and I want to give that recommendation out there." So we'll continue to work together for sure. He's a friend too. And we'll see where it goes. I mean, there might be some cool stuff coming up, but I can't say quite yet.
Okay. Tried to get it out of you.
Yeah, I knew that was coming. First of all, thanks so much for taking some time out of your schedule to visit with us. It's really cool to have a company like yours in our state. It's all a part of racing. It really is. I don't care whether it's out in the open at a regular racetrack or whether it's iRacing in one of your sim seats. It's racing.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And that's what we like to promote here. And to be honest with you, it's the first time since Brandon's been on. I mean, it's the first time this show has actually had iRacing drivers on.
Yeah.
Sim guys.
Yeah.
And they're just, a lot of them are drivers, racers.
Yeah. Raja and Garrett both.
Yeah, Raja and Garrett both. But I mean, they all have great personalities still.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they are fast. They're fast in the sim, and they're fast in real life too.
Fast, marketable kids, and great to be around and great to be a part of.
Because we're gonna have Jimmy Mullis and Zach Novak on as well.
Yeah.
You know, we've been talking about it, Brandon, for how long?
Hey, I've been waiting. You know, I've been waiting for the right moment, and I'm hoping that Jimmy
just won at Las Vegas,
but he can also he also has to work in the mornings.
That's right.
So he can't just come.
Okay.
Unfortunately, but if he makes a playoffs next week, we can have him on.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. As always, we can't thank you enough for listening to the show, folks. You know, with it being on the platforms, the numbers are going up. Mm-hmm. Have you not seen that?
Yeah, we have. Okay. Yeah.
And we can't thank you enough, but we're going to ask you a few things to do. If you're going to go there, subscribe. Okay. If you're going to go there, give us a review.
A good one.
A good one. Good, bad, indifferent. I don't. Just give us a review.
Just write something.
And give us 5 stars. That would make us really happy to see a lot of 5-star reviews. That means that we're doing what you want us to do.
Yep.
You know, and we're doing it the way you want us to do it. But we can't do it without you, so thank you for listening. We want you to have a great week. For Brandon Brown, for Zach McAfee, I'm Dave C. saying thank you. What are you looking at me for?
I was waiting on the final line, man.
I am trying to get you out of here. And, you know, I do know that you are a social media guy, so I did forget the social media stuff. So give it real quick.
That's okay. You can find us at Racing Virginia on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and obviously the podcast on all your favorite platforms now and on racingvirginia.com.
And by the way, you can find SimSeats at sim-seats.com/Racing Virginia. That's our affiliate.
Hang on, I got to make that page real quick. Give me 5 minutes.
No, but if you're looking for a sim seat, folks, make sure you buy it local. Make sure you buy it from Zach and his company, Sim Seats. It's a great success story. And as we always say at the end of our show, keep racing, Virginia.